Speed of 114 miles per hour has been recorded in Ireland this morning, the fastest since records began. And when you get a wind speed that's that fast, I have to say, you know all about it. Even this morning when I came out of the house, there was all sorts of things blowing around in my street, wheelie bins coming at you. Like I said, last time we had a storm like this, I was suddenly assaulted by a cone as I was driving up the M25 to drive around it with some skill. In the old supercar that I've got. I'm not going to say too much about that. Anyway, let's talk to Joe and find out what we can expect over the next sort of 24 hours. Joe, very good morning to you.
Good morning. Yes, it certainly has been a very, very violent storm. And of course, the focus has been on the west because we knew that this storm as it came in, likely to track its way into northwestern parts, was going to have the strongest winds on the southwestern flank.
Yeah.
So it was after the rain had gone through, and we've seen those winds over Ireland picking up overnight. As you say, that record of 113 miles per hour set in Limerick back in 1945 has now been broken. Macehead, 114.9 miles per hour. Now, that obviously was in the red zone, but we've got other parts of the country that are also in the red zone. At the moment, Scotland's waking up and wondering what all the fuss is about because their winds are pretty much flat calm at 7 miles per hour. That's through central areas, but that's because the storm hasn't reached them yet.
So the whole country is really going to be affected at some point today. I mean, according to a piece in the Telegraph today, schools are going to be closed. Wind turbines aren't going to turn, obviously, because they never work when it's windy. And I guess people will just have to be careful about how they get around if they have to go out. Would you say to people? I know I'm always very wary of being a bit too kind of overprotective of people, but this does seem like a bad one. And if you don't have to drive anywhere, you probably shouldn't.
Absolutely, you know, try and stay off the roads. Try not even to walk around. Apparently one of your colleagues got blown over this morning.
Oh, really?
Now, I
Who was
a
that?
little tunnel outside the News UK building.
Blimey.
It is very blustery there. So, of course, it's not just down to what the weather's doing. It's also down to where you live or where you're trying to travel, that it might just be somewhere that funnels the wind and suddenly makes it dramatically worse. Interesting to see that roads like the Snake Pass have been shut, the Woodhead Pass, and also parts of North Yorkshire. So again, parts of the country that aren't immediately dramatically affected by those strongest winds, but it is blustery everywhere.
And presumably the trains won't be running. I mean, they don't need many excuses to not run the trains. So presumably today that will be absolutely multiplied by 100.
Absolutely, a lot of the rail services have already been cancelled. Flights, obviously, in and out of Belfast, also Edinburgh and Glasgow. Ferry crossings, they're not going to go ahead. And I spoke to a friend of mine in Belfast last night, and I said to her, listen, make sure everything's charged up, charge up your phone. I said, and the advice is to fill a bath with water if you have a bath, and then you've got supplies if anything happens. Well, this morning we've got 500,000 homes without electricity, and that situation may get worse. The first expiry of the red warning is 2 o'clock this afternoon.
Okay.
But the other go on. We've got amber warnings as well and a yellow warning right across the country. So these winds are going to continue for some time.
OK. Well, we'll all be very, very careful out there. Thank you very much indeed. Joe Wheeler there, meteorologist at Square Raindrop. I just say, I'm not one of those that generally speaking will give you any kind of, reason to not do anything because the weather's going to be really bad. But I think this actually is going to be quite windy out there. So by all means, tell us what you're seeing, because you are the eyes and ears of this station. One of the things we'd love to hear is your information that we can pass on to everybody else. So you can text us on 87222. You can tweet us at TalkTV. You can leave us a voice note 0344 499 1000. In fact, if you want to go outside and record yourself talking in the wind, we can hear it, like that sound. We don't mind a bit of that because it is quite bad. I've got to get down to Sussex later on today. I'm starting to wonder whether I need to sort of do something different to what I normally do, like stay off the motorway, go on the smaller roads. Is a tree going to come down? That kind of thing. It's all part of the rich pageant. But there will be people who, if you don't need to go out, just don't bother because honestly, it is pretty bad out there. I don't know. I'm going to try and find. She's just told us somebody got blown over outside the building here. Does that mean it's somebody from Times Radio? They don't eat well there. There's a lot of vegans down that way. It may well be that they haven't got enough ballast and possibly got blown over because they're too thin. Have a couple of burgers, that would be my advice.